guys, welcome back. So I owe you guys a video and I've been trying to get it recorded, but I haven't, right? Every time I think about getting cute for the sit down, I just don't want to. Or I'm out and I was like, I should really record that video once I get home. And then I get home, I shower and I'm cold and I just want to be in the bed. So it's cold, it's gotten cold. Yeah. And it's been super windy. I think they said that there was some kind of system that was over us and it was super windy. Like I'm outside having to plant my feet on the ground, windy. And so I just haven't, because it's gotten cold and I want to say winter is finally here, but I feel like that I know what's coming, so I don't really want to say that, but it's like 0, it's like 5, it's earlier in the morning, it's like -4 in the morning when you're going out. It's cold. So I've given up on trying to be cute for the video. So today we're gonna do it comfortable. And I've had my dinner, I've had my shower, and I'm gonna have some tea. And encourage you to go get some tea, or coffee or juice or whatever you like, so we can sit down and really talk about this. We're going to be talking about taxes and building credit. So get your beverage and come back. Okay, I'm back. I have Mountain Peak ginger and turmeric tea, but it's the no sugar added one because I asked my husband to bring me the one I like, and he brought me no sugar added one, and I'm adult, but I'm not that adult. But I'm trying, so I haven't added any sugar to it. Not really, but I'm gonna cut this right here, so only because I'm yellow there. And okay, so let's talk about taxes first, because it's the shortest one. So I mentioned a few weeks ago that part of the transition to Canada is to learn that their tax system is different, and that you have to I wanted to figure out how it's done or how it works, so that by the time I get to the first time where I have to file taxes, I kind of have an idea, or I sort of know what I'm doing. Even if I have to pay somebody to do it for me, I'll have enough of an idea to be able to help myself in the way through. Girl can't forget to, don't it? But so that's something, I don't have that background, and so that's something that I really wanted to work on. And besides the fact that me afraid at them place here and for not pay tax, come on, nobody come back to my door and meet with them tax, and come dip up in my bank account and meet with them tax. It's part of the journey. What I mean is, I'm here as a temporary resident. The goal is to be a permanent resident and then move on to citizenship. Girl, I have a plan. My plan is you have to live in Canada for 3 years. You have to be a permanent resident before you can apply for citizenship. And you have to have lived in the country for 3 years. But there are additional requirements. Yeah? Okay. So I'm at the Government of Canada's website. I know some iPad something stay bad. Or don't judge me. It works on the Canada website. And in order to be eligible for citizenship, you have to be a permanent resident, have lived in Canada for 3 out of the last 5 years, have filed your taxes if you need to, or supposed to, pass a citizenship test, and prove your language skills. No. In addition to, I got my passport. So in order to prove that if you've traveled outside of Canada, like for the entire time that you're here, you can leave, right? So when you leave, you have to take notes of those dates. In fact, they have this thing called a travel journal. Mine are so wonderful, but it's called a travel journal, and it helps you keep track of any trips that you make outside of Canada within, the time leading up to when you're applying. And it asks you, it looks like this. It's really a one big sheet where you can fold up. You print it. It's still like this. You print it and you fold it 2 times, and it's still like so. And me just stick it in the back of the passport. So it asks you for the date that you depart Canada, the date that you return, where you went, and why you went. And those are important for you to keep track of. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is taxes. So when it depends on how it depends on what your status is when you come. So for example, I came in 2021, but I didn't have to file taxes in 2021 because I wasn't working. I didn't work at all in 2021 in Canada. I was a student. But 2022 is a different story. So you have to file your taxes. So I have to file in 2023 for 2022. Okay, that's a given. So how that works is when you get a job, typically in my experience, they ask you how you want to go about your taxes. They'll give you a T form and another form that ask you about how you want your deductions to be taken. Now, you qualify for certain claims and you go down the form and things like that. Should I print? I have one printed one, but anyway, listen to what I'm saying. So you go down the form and they will have lines. Do you qualify for this? Do you have any dependents? So you qualify for certain deductions, right? And you can put them in, and then it will kind of do the addition. You will kind of do the additions to figure out how much tax you're supposed to be paying, or and your employer will ask for that back so that they can know how to take taxes from your paycheck. For me, this is what I've done, based on what I think makes sense, plus advice that I've been given. I don't claim anything. I let them take everything that they can take it out. Just take it. Take all the taxes and then give me what's left. So that's your gross income. What you make before taxes is your gross, and then what you get after taxes is your net. So I let them take everything they need to take, and then I get the rest. My logic is that when they take everything that they can take, at the end of the year, when I file, right, is one of two things gonna happen. Either I paid too much and they'll give me back some, or I didn't pay enough and they'll tell me what I owe, right? Even if they tell me what I owe, if I do it like that, if I have them take the taxes before, even if I owe, it can't be that much. It can't be that much, right? And that's for employment, like when you have an employer. However, I've also done some work as independent contractor. No, I'm on the hook for doing that myself because they don't take taxes. I send the client an invoice and they pay me the money. They're not interested in what kind of taxes I have to pay. So I'm responsible for declaring that income and paying the relevant taxes on that income. So at the end of it, also, when you change your job within the year, right? One job won't know what the other's doing, so they're both gonna act like they're both gonna take taxes from you. There's a max, there's like a limit of taxes that you can pay, but each employer isn't going to know what you're paying. So each employer is going to deduct taxes towards that maximum. So at the end of years, when you report your earnings and what you've paid or not paid or whatever, then your taxes are kind of like reconciled. And then if you've paid too much, then you'll get some back. Things like that. So these things are important and I want to learn about them. Can you tell I'm not? I'm getting there, but I'm not there. So that's the idea with that. And because it is so important, I need to make sure that I'm on track. I need to make sure that everything is on the up and up, because it will affect plans that I have further down the line. So that's what I've learned. So let's talk about the other thing, building credit. And we're gonna go straight to my website for this because I already wrote the blog. And as you can tell, I haven't really been writing all that much, but I did do this one, so the points are valid. All right, so this is open. Ooh, no. Just open the ad. All right, so this is the blog post, how to establish credit as a Canadian immigrant. Okay, so personally, have known for years that credit is important. And so prior to coming, I did my research. I knew that, like I said, of our plan. So I had my plan and the steps I needed to take in order to go about building this credit, because when you land, the credit doesn't come with you. If you come to Canada from a different country, your credit doesn't come with you. So no credit history is in some ways the same as having bad credit. And I say in some ways because there are lots of programs that are geared towards newcomers who don't have a credit history for that reason, because it's a country of immigrants, right? But I did my research, and so I knew a couple of things that I wanted to do first off the bat. So I've also been trying to get into the habit, like before I came, I was getting into the habit of using my credit card more. I will say that how I used it back home is different from how I use it here, but I did try to get myself in the spirit of use the credit card, because I'm back home, not really. I'd rather just pay if I have the money, but that's kind of not how things work here, right? You prove that you are worthy of being lent money by owing money. I know. So when you have debt and you are seen as reliably and consistently servicing that debt, then you're a good risk. But if you have bad debt, or you're not paying on time, you're not making your payments, things like that, you're a bad risk. But you're also kind of like if you don't have any debt. So here's how you start to build credit as a Canadian immigrant. The first thing you do, and this is the first thing I do. This is the first thing I did. the like, you come to Canada, like you land, whether you land as a temporary resident or you land as a permanent resident, one of the first things you do is you go to Service Canada. You go get your SIN. As soon as you do that, you want to go to the bank. You want to open a bank account. Here's something, don't do what I didn't do. What I did was I opened the bank account. Even though I did all my research and I knew better, I didn't do it. I opened the bank account and I didn't get a credit card. When you open the bank account, get a credit card. Just get the card. Get the card. Now, depending on your status when you land, that will determine, you know, what your limit might be. But get the credit card. And as soon as you get the credit card, like you have that line of credit, whether it's $500 or $1,000, the next thing you need to do is to get a bill. The easiest one to get is a phone bill. Get a phone bill. So that is literal, like this is Yelena, Canada today, do them some here tomorrow. That's where we're at. Land today, do these things tomorrow or whenever the place open, so you can do them things here. Get that credit. The second you have the card, you start to use it. You started to build credit, right? Now, the goal is to get you from not having any credit history to having a good credit score. So the credit score, they kind of have categories. I'm gonna read them to you. Maybe I'll put an image in here, I don't know, but I'm gonna read them to you. So very poor is between 300 and 600. Poor is between 601 and 657. Good or fair is between 658 and 719. Very good is between 720 and 780. And excellent is between 781 and 850. I delayed getting a credit card because I did the bank account stuff, but I delayed getting my credit card by 3 months, right? To me, that's 3 months that I could have used. My history could have used, yeah? So that is why I'm encouraging you to get that as soon as you possibly can, because I'm not a year yet. However, my credit score is nice. It's in very good territory. Girl is coming and I'm going for excellence. Girl is going for excellence, right? But those are some things that you want to do, and it's important because I don't know if anyone else is like me, but I don't really want to hear some old people. I don't really want to hear that. I don't really want to hear that. However, it's the way of the society here, so we have to conform and we have to learn how to use the system to our advantage. And girl, want back also them thing there, like y'all saw in my other video. So we need to get on board and to get these things in place to make sure that we're on the right path. So I'm going to share with you 6 tips that I have followed to get my credit score up within just a few months. And I'm gonna tell y'all my business too. I did this on a credit card of $1,000 because as a student, when you're an international student, you have, some banks will give you, when you get a student credit card, you get a $500 limit or a $1,000 limit. The bank that I use gave me a $1,000 limit, and that's what I used. So you don't need to owe a ton of money to be able to build your credit. Yeah, just use the credit card. Use it. Okay, so the tip number 1 is to open that line of credit. You already got that. If you are able to open other lines of credit, like they have one called a line of credit, where it's a much bigger amount, like maybe $10,000, $15,000, maybe $5,000, where you can purchase things on it and you pay it back. You pay the interest, but that line of credit is open, and as soon as you pay it back, it's available to you again. It's different from a credit card, right? But it is a line of credit, and it's useful for purposes like that. Please don't do it if you're not saying spend the money and don't pay it back. Don't do it. Number 2 is to get that bill. The phone bill is the easiest one to get, right? Your rent could probably, depending on where you are, your rent could probably help. But I'll tell you this, what my research has told me is that they don't really report that you paid your rent. But if you don't pay your rent, they'll report it. If you don't pay the rent on time, they'll report it. But they're not really reporting that you're paying the rent on time when you do. Okay? So that's another thing as well. Once you have those bills, pay them and use the credit card. Use it and pay it back every month. So that's tip number 4. So tip number 1, this is a mess. Tip number 1 is to open that revolving line of credit. Tip number 2 is to get that bill. And tip number 3 is to use your new line of credit, which is your card, to pay those bills or to make your purchases. Don't just have the credit card in your pocket. It's not gonna help you like so. You have to use it. Use it to pay for stuff. And number 4 is to pay your bills and debts on time. Don't just pay them. Pay them on time. What'd I say? Pay them on time. Don't, if the bill due the 15th, don't pay it on the 15th. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because you have no guarantee that that company is going to get your money on the 15th. Don't do that. Pay it like 2-3 days before. Pay the bill early. Okay. The next tip is tip number 5. For the love of God, please don't make minimum payments on your credit card. Don't ever, just don't do it. When you have like a $300 bill and the bank is like, oh yeah, your minimum payment is $10, don't do it. Don't fall for it. Don't do it. Pay your bill in full. Because that $390, that $200, if your bill is $300 and you pay $10, the interest rates on that $290 that you didn't pay is going to kill you. It is going to bury you. Credit card fees are insanely high. Pay the bill in full. Next tip number 6. Maintain a maximum utilization rate of 30%. I'm going to explain. So even though they give you a credit card and your credit card limit is $1,000, please don't use the $1,000 on the credit card. And remember, the $1,000 is just a metaphor for however much credit you have, right? Don't use up all of it. Do not use all of it. Again, with this just being a thing for, it's different, right? They'll give you credit, but they don't want you to use all of it. Because to them, if you have $1,000 in credit and every month you use $1,000 in credit, they're kind of like looking at you sideways like, can you not manage? Like, you look like you're about to start owing some money. We don't like that. We don't like that at all. So they want you to have an ideal utilization rate of 30%. It can be difficult to manage when you're new. And at first I was kind of like, what the hell am I supposed to do with $300? Basically $300, right? Because if your credit limit is $1,000, then it's $300. And I was like, well, I'm supposed to do that like I'm a grown woman. However, I found a trick that works. Let's say, for example, your bill is made up in the middle of the month, say the 15th. 30 days in another month, and your bill is being made up the 15th of every month, right? What I do is, if my bill is over, like if I have more than 300 on the credit card, what I do is I'll pay some of it, because I don't want the bill to come to zero. That doesn't help me. So I pay some of it and leave it at maybe a $100 and something. Honestly, when you leave it at like $200 and something, it's nicer. So when you use like maybe 20 something %, it does a little bit more for you. So what I do is, before the 15th, because I know that on the 15th the account will be closed and I'm going to be in a new cycle. So what I do is I would pay, if say for example the bill is 600 that I have on the card, like when you add up, like if you have more than one card or you have more than one line of credit, it's 30% of your overall lines of credit. So if I know that I use more than 30%, I'm paying some of it off before the bill comes due, and that helps me, because it says to them, well, one, it says when I spend the money I can pay it back, and two, where you go report say, oh yeah, them only report once a month. Them not report say, you know what, the girl did use more than that, but she paid before the bill come. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying for that. They're gonna report on what your bill is and what you paid. No, when your bill is made up, you have what, maybe 2-3 weeks to pay it off. So you pay the balance. Me, I pay. Listen, 2 times I'm gonna pay before that bill is made up. So let's say the bill is made up on the 15th. I'm gonna pay some of it on the 14th or the 13th, depending. Yeah, but once I know that the billing period is closed out, then I'll pay the rest. And I'll pay the rest because I don't want to think about it, and I want to, okay, this bill is paid, filed away. And so that's how I've been able to kind of like manage that. One additional thing is just never go over your credit limit. Personally, this is what I do. If I find that I'm going to have to go over my limit, I'll use my debit card. Just don't go over your limit. Don't go over your credit limit. I don't ever do that. And I don't have any advice for you as to what will happen if you do that. I just know it's not good, and I'm in a building stage, so I'm not trying to do it. So those are my little tips. And then, well, I already shared my personal strategy with you, which is don't spend the money if you don't have it. If you don't have the money in your bank, do not put it on your credit card, because it means you can't pay for it, right? I feel like that pine palm. Like I'm giving mother energy. However, do not spend money that you don't have. Pay your bills on time and maintain your 30% utilization rate. There are some places that will say, when I looked up the requirements for mortgages and things like that, they'll say, hey, we're looking for under 40%. That's not good enough for me. I go under 30. If I keep it at 30, you can't argue with me, because some places say 35, some places say 30, and I'm just like, you know what? For a safe life, 30 is what we're working with. And so that's what I've done up to this. Also, take note that whenever you open new lines of credit, whenever you get a loan, it hits your credit score like hard. You have soft inquiries, like maybe if you're checking your credit score, then it doesn't really affect it as much. But if you're gonna like apply for a loan where an institution is going to pull your records and check your credit, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect and possibly lower your score. If you get a car loan, it's going to hit and potentially lower your score. If you get a mortgage, it'll potentially lower your score. So I just want you to be mindful of that. And some things are unavoidable. Like you have to live life in the same time, right? For me, my strategy is to build it up as much as I can before I have to knock it. Honestly, if you can do these things before you start to build, more power to you. It might be a little more difficult starting out the gate, but if you can do that, then more power to you. So that's my strategy. That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about, and that's what it's been taking a girl time to find the time to sit down and talk to you about. But that's my strategy. I wish, honestly, I felt like I wanted to like do a live, but I don't have enough followers for a live. If y'all could like get me to 1,000, then we could talk about this live. But so yeah, I just wanted to really sit down and chit chat and give you guys the video, because I've been promising for a while, and through me up and down from the cold, it's hard to find time to, you know, be cute and sit down and have a chit chat. So I hope you all learned something. If you have any information you would like to share, then put it in the comments, because girl is still learning. I'm still researching as well. I'm learning on the fly. I'm learning as I go. But that is the little that I know. That is what I've been working with so far, and like I said, I've been able to build up my credit score in a couple of months, and I'm pretty proud of it. I'm dang proud of it. Yes. So, you know, we're just working on it. We're working on it step by step. Every little make a muckle. Each one teach one, each one reach one. I hope you guys have a blessed Sunday, because the nights have come down. I know this video not as bright anymore. And I hope you have a blessed week. Bye.